From a business standpoint, I guess I would draw the comparison to, from a personal standpoint, building a house, you wouldn't build it without a blueprint. If you were building your land infrastructure for a new building, you wouldn't do that without a plan. RFID is a network, and it requires a focus and a thoughtful design and plan before you implement. We actually have a lot of calls, and a lot of these calls have to do with, hey, my engineering team has been toying around with RFID, can you come help us out? Or the IT group bought some readers and some tags and things, and we thought we could do something with it, but can you come and help us out? And what they realized is that, RFID isn't plug and play. It has some complexities, but if you know what you're looking for, it actually can be a very enjoyable experience. So I think that's the takeaway there is understand that this isn't just simply going out and buying equipment itself. There's some physics testing involved, not only on the equipment itself, and you saw some of the sensitivity testing that was done for Depew in that box, where Chris was showing you those testing results. But beyond that, just the overall environment, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But if you have a pretty dense RF environment, it's going to be very difficult to run a very accurate and effective RFID network. And workflow layout is absolutely imperative. That's going to be a change. It's going to be a significant change to your business. Workflow and changing of people's day-to-day activities could be a part of an RFID implementation. It's probably the single biggest thing, the single biggest deterrent to RFID at this stage. And I saw a CEO in the industry came out and said just that in some recent article that I read, where it's a change management problem, where people are not yet ready to go and give up what they normally do. And that's fair. That's just a technology adoption cycle. It's no different than what we've seen in any other technologies out there. I had to laugh when Patrick mentioned the iPod and how MP3 players have been around for a long, long time. And I had the similar type of analogy. What I was going to use was it was 127 years between the discovery of electricity by Benjamin Franklin and the invention of the light bulb by Thomas Alva Edison in 1859. That was a big gap between that. The technology was kind of there, electricity, but it didn't have a useful purpose because people couldn't read by it until this invention was made. And so that's just more of a change management issue. Bill of materials, these are things, again, you're pretty used to this. The readers and the tags, the software, the peripherals, nothing too special there, but it is absolutely an important element, and there's actually a lot of overlooked elements, and we'll talk a little bit about that following up. As I get more into the cost part of the presentation. Continuing the site survey is a must. Usually people get that. The kitting process. This is a good example of what people need to understand, because and somebody nailed the answer over in the corner there from when Patrick asked, what did that two-star general ask of us when we actually went out to deploy DLA? Don't interfere with my mission. Well, that's a configuration issue. We would configure all this equipment back at our facilities to not try to go out there and cobble it together on the customer's time and in the customer's environment. So the kitting process is something that should be considered when you're rolling out as well. It's important, actually, if you're going into a live environment. And systems, and I think, and KMAC, Kevin McDonald does such a nice job with this part of the presentation. I can't spend too much time here, but I cannot stress enough how important. This right here is where RFID meets business value. RFID is a great tool, but it's just that, it's just a tool. Where you actually implement the knowledge that you glean from that tool is right here, is when you actually import it into your back end, and it has applicability to your business, and you can create value. So the integration and the performance testing is absolutely key. Monitoring and maintenance. This is an interesting observation that we have made. Right now, it doesn't seem to be on anybody's mind. From a monitoring and maintenance standpoint, no big deal. In fact, I talk to customers a lot, and they say, well, you know, we've got 15 readers, and I kind of roll a truck every time something goes wrong. And that's fair. That can happen right now in 2008. But when that person or he or she has 40 readers or 80 readers, which will happen, it's going to become a major issue. We talked about our monitoring offering. It is the first on the market. I would predict there might be others, but it's something nonetheless that you need to be extremely aware of in building a long-term solution with RFID, monitoring and maintenance, firmware upgrades, security patches. These are all elements that are day-to-day in the LAN environment. They will become day-to-day in an RFID environment. This is just to kind of put a bow on those building blocks, and hopefully that can give you a little bit of a sense of, put a handle on some of the different elements that go into understanding how to build an RFID network and how to build an RFID business case. Because again, going out onto ScanSource or some company that actually you can buy this equipment at and buying the equipment itself and testing it out in the lab is a long way from actually having a good solid implementation. So with that said, I wanted to move from that part of my presentation and into the cost element, because that can give you, this can be where people get tripped up as well. At this stage, you've recognized there are benefits out there to be achieved. And hopefully the questions and the process that I just went through with you gives you a sense of, okay, I know my use case. My use case is a distribution use case. My use case is a shipping and dock door use case. My use case is a consignment inventory control use case. Whatever that use case could be, that's what you need to have answers to. We move into a costing element. And I figured I'd make it a little bit more light and airy to play with you and keep everyone awake. So what we have, I'm going to go through some common mistakes. What do you guys see up here on the screen right now? Anyone? What's that? Yeah, it's a reader. Sure. It's a portal. Exactly. But in fact, it's a lot more than that. Which is point one of what we often have as a common mistake, is misestimating the cost of the equipment involved. All of these things are critical when you move into an actual live environment. So that chart was a home run. Thank you very much, guys. That's perfect. Everything from cables and cabling, not only do they cost, but also how it's cabled is essential for accurate read rates. And that's for a different discussion. But we've gone out onto sites and simply changed the cabling, or there was a kink in the cabling, and that impacted the read rates of some of our customers that called us in, or they were subsequent customers. So what do you guys see here? Process map, workflow, absolutely, you nailed it. But again, it is a common mistake in RFID estimating to misestimate that. The workflows themselves, the zone placements, the network and electric ports that need to be installed when you're actually putting in interrogation zones. Something else I would add here, if I were to continue to annotate this slide, would be the physics testing involved in putting those interrogation zones in. Important to recognize if you're near a naval base, your facility is right outside O'Hare Airport or Logan Airport, you're going to see some funky RF environments out there. It's going to impact whether or not you have a clean RFID implementation.